All right, I think we can get started. Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us for the final special edition of the Developer Office Hours. And as usual, we'll answer any questions that you, as developers, might have about utilizing Subspace for your development purposes. And today, with me on the stage, I have our co founder, Nazar, and the head of Ecosystem, Jim. Do you want to say hi, guys?
Hello, everyone.
All right, yeah, excited to have you both on the stage alongside with me. And Justin, of course. He's helping us with the stream. Is the stream and the sound is working fine, Justin?
Yeah, everything's all good so far. Good to see you, everybody. Thanks for joining us today.
Awesome. Thanks, Justin. But as I mentioned, today is our special edition of Developer Office Hours. And what makes it special? Today, we're revealing a new farming tool called Space Acres. And Jim will share the idea behind the project and why we feel it's an important step to lower the barrier of entry for the farmers. And the creator of Space Acres, Nazar, will give us a walk through the application and its features. And then we're going to show something exciting for our operators. And of course, do a Q&A for any questions you might have. So without further ado, let's jump right into it together. Jim, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Emil. Yeah, and of course, as Emil says, this is a developer office hour. So if you do have any developer questions, please do pop them in the chat. We're going to hold time at the end to try and answer any burning issues you might have. But obviously, this is the last developer office hours of the year, I think, Emil. Not ever, just in case anyone's worried. The bit isn't going anywhere. But with the holiday season fast approaching, we expect this will be the last of 2023. Now, here in Ecosystem at Subspace, we're always thinking about how we can drive engagement and increase the number of farmers on our network. The project has built a solid foundation with our incentivized testnet, which has been running since September the 6th and represents 14 weeks as of today. Remember, our estimate all those weeks ago was that the Gemini 3 incentivized testnet, our last incentivized testnet, would run for approximately 24 weeks. So by that reckoning, we are approaching 2/3 of the way through, and the rewards allocation continues to grow at 0.1% of token supply a week. How many weeks did I say? 14. So we're at 1.4% of token supply as of today. We recently added stake wars to the mix, introduced decoupled execution, operators, nominators, and a new way to earn TSSC through staking. Latest figures tell me that this has led to 149 operators registering and 508 nominators trusting those operators with their hard-earned TSSC. We're fast approaching 500,000 in stake between them, which is truly remarkable and wonderful for us in the team to see. We've also been iterating heavily on the official node running documentation to make sure that the process is as streamlined, intuitive, and approachable as possible in an attempt to make farming as easy as we can. But this is not enough for us. We want to ensure that we are giving our community every possible chance to participate. And a perennial question from its members has been, when is the desktop farmer coming back? Emil and I have been rolling some ideas around recently on how we could bootstrap an effort to get a new desktop farmer off the ground and make farming on Windows as easy as possible. Our old project, Subspace Desktop, was from a few generations of the network ago now, and would not have been feasible to make compatible with Gemini 3G onwards without a complete rewrite. Before Emil and I got a chance to put our plans into practice, Nazar has spent some of his incredibly limited free time recently getting an MVP of Space Acres together. In his own words, Space Acres is an opinionated, unofficial subspace farmer. As of right now, it comes with a Windows installer MSI package and significantly lowers the barrier to entry for farming on Windows. We understand that we have a broad cross-section of technical ability within our community, and we know from their feedback that running applications from the command line is not for everyone. as he's following raw log output that scrolls quickly before the eyes and has a learning curve to pass and really understand what's going on. Subspace pride ourselves on being a free and fair blockchain for all. And Space Acres allows users with minimal technical knowledge to get farming and start earning subspace credits. That includes on our current incentivized testnet and, we hope, with community contributions onto mainnet. The UI reports to the user the node syncing status and also what the farmer is up to. As I mentioned, this is a minimum viable product, so there may be bugs, and there are certainly a plethora of features we'd like to see implemented to improve the user experience. Despite that caveat, I've been running Space Acres for around a week now and can confirm that it farms well with resource usage similar to the advanced CLI. Like Pulsar, there's a shared network stack which realizes an efficiency over the advanced CLI and reduces the ports you need to open. We will be asking you, our fantastic community, to help us keep the momentum up on the project. And Emil will be speaking on how exactly that will work shortly. But before he does that, Nazar, are you ready? Can you give us a walk through the repo, the code, and give us a short demo of Space Acres, please?
I will certainly try. Let me try to share the screen and see if it works. I think you should be able to see it. Can someone confirm?
It's still loading for me.
Yeah, sometimes it does that. Can anyone see it?
It's loading for me as well. Let's just give it a moment. Did you stop your farmers? Did you pause your nodes, Nazar?
Okay, Jeremy can see it, so maybe it's just something on your end. It sometimes requires to reload the page for me for some reason in Discord for screen sharing, but if someone can see it, then it's not on my end. So this is a repository. I think I will start with the demo and give you some to walk through. So this is how it looks like. It basically starts, it tries to initialize things. It will go through like a few loading screens, and then it will basically show something like this. It will show you what's happening on the consensus node side, if it's syncing or what the target is. And then on the farmer side, it will show like piece cache sync, plotting, farming, things like that. It's very basic. There are almost no settings. There is very little you can do or screw up. And that's kind of the point. We hope to have many more, like I hope to have many more features here eventually. But for now, this is meant to be the easiest way to jump into farming. This is kind of obvious. I can show you one interesting thing that you wouldn't see otherwise. This cache is syncing quite fast. That's nice. If you click Control Shift D, you can actually see the debug interface. It's not disabled even in releases. And you can see how application is actually built. So you can go into window, you can see that there is a box, there is a header in that box, there is another box, there is some switcher. That switcher has some other things. And you can have even a picker. So you can like click on this progress bar and you can see that this progress bar is over here. And you can do a bunch of things. You can change styles. You can try to change appearance. You can understand how application visually is composed. And you can even have some settings. I believe you can change the theme. I can make it light theme. Let me see. There should be a way to change the theme. Just doesn't seem to work right now for me. You can show things like graphical updates, like every time something changes, it will be red. You can see the frame rate. My screen is 30 hertz. That's why 30 FPS. So you can do a whole bunch of things that I will go into a little bit later. If you cannot see, try to refresh the page or restart the Discord. It might help. Otherwise, you should be able to see it on a recording, assuming that Justin can see it. So this is about the app itself. And let's go back into the repository. On the repository side, there are a few things in description. I hope you can read it later. The structure is basically that we have some front end and we have some back end. In the front-end side, we have some things like configuration that you can potentially change. It basically looks like kind of HTML. You have a box, which is kind of like div in HTML, CSS. You have some other elements. There is actually an amazing documentation on GTK. You can see this gallery of widgets that are available, and then you can click two buttons in that box. When you click on the button, you fire this event. And then there is a label, which is basically a piece of text that you format with the data from the model you have. The model and messages are defined at the top, just one struct with the one field. It's a number, and there are two messages. And at the bottom, we process updates. This is just a boilerplate. We define model widgets and just return it. If we increment, we just add one to the number, and if we decrement, we just subtract one. And at the bottom, just initialization. That's like, if you read this documentation, you should feel like you can build a simple app already just with this basic knowledge. Majority of complex stuff is already taken care of on the app side, and I think the last thing I'd like to emphasize here is this is, yes, unofficial and opinionated project, but it's meant to be a community project. Because of that, I don't expect myself to implement everything. I expect community participation. For that reason, there are a whole bunch of different issues ranging from working with CSS, no like Rust coding required, to fairly advanced level of the Rust knowledge, and everything in between. And you can implement different new features. You can add support for like Linux or macOS builds. You can add some settings. There are many things that can be improved, and I hope that this relatively simple application already put together for you that you can build and run would be an easier point to actually start contributing. And you also are free to fork this project and modify it in the way you want, and maybe build a custom version that serves your use case better. I think I'll stop there, and if there are any questions, I will try to address them.
Thanks very much for the demo, Nazar. Yeah, we really appreciate you taking the time to build the application. We know that you're super busy, like you're working on the protocol, you're always helping the community on the Discord and on the forum, and yet you found some of the available time to build the Space Acres. This is truly amazing. Yeah, thanks a lot for that.
That was kind of fun, actually.
That's always good to hear. Yeah, and on that note, as Nazar mentioned, there is tons of open issues, so we are very welcome. The contributions to the Space Hackers are very welcome. And on that note, I'm really excited to actually introduce yet another community incentive program, and it's called the Subspace Contribution Contest. And the contest is specifically designed for developers who are passionate about blockchain technology and they love a good challenge. And every month we'll be offering a rewards pool of up to $1,000 for the best merge pull request contributed to the eligible subspace projects. And of course, Space Acres is the highest priority project on the list. So with every contribution to Space Acres, you become eligible for the contests, but also any contributions to Pulsar or MonoReaper are also welcome. As Nazar mentioned, every project has a list of open issues, so you can browse for them, look at them to find an inspiration on what to work on and what to implement. And the rules are very simple, so you have to be eligible. There is very few limitations in our terms and conditions. that will link, but pretty much every other developer is eligible to participate in the contests. We're accepting submissions from the first day of each month to the last, and we value impactful, efficient, and innovative solutions. And your pull request should enhance the project's functionality, security, or performance. And with every contribution, please document your code and clearly state the problem it solves. Remember that great code is also readable and understandable, and every submission will undergo a review by our engineers. Please be open to their suggestions and make sure to implement all feedback. Only approved and merged PRs are eligible. And why do you participate? Yeah, as I mentioned, of course, like you are shaping the project and you becoming the vital part of the project. And in terms of reward, as I mentioned, we have a prize pool of $1,000 each month, and the maximum price per contribution is capped at $500. But you also get an NFT POAP with every submission. If there is a special POAP for those who review and leave their feedback for the PRs. We also appreciate your help, and we'll be doing a special gift for you as well. And of course, submitting a PR is the best way to get recognition and potentially maybe even a job at Subspace. So one of the best ways to stand out in front of our engineers and Subspace team is to be active and submit your code. We hope that you're as excited about the contest as we are, and we cannot wait to see the contributions coming from you. And to shift gears a little bit, we've talked about enhancing farmer experience with Space Acres, engaging with developers through the new contribution contests. Are there any good or exciting news for operators, Jim?
Funnily enough, there is, Emil. Yeah. So some exciting news. Something that's been again a continual question from our operators is a a kind of a strong way to work out how they are doing. So the staking interface does allow you to see your stake growing, which is being added to obviously by the transaction fees that you're earning as you're operating. But it's not always easy to separate out your stake from your fees. So what the product team have been working on, and I'm going to try and share my screen now. Let's see if this is going to work for us. Okay. Let me know if you can see my screen.
Yeah, I can
Works
see
for
a
me.
screen.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, so what the product team have been working on, so you may recognize our Explorer dashboard here, and it's got some new tabs. So obviously we added the EVM tab. I'm not sure if you can see my mouse, but I'm up in the top left corner. We have the EVM tab now, which gives you the state of the Nova chain. But we also now have leaderboard tabs. They are work in progress, so I can show you the operator leaderboard. I believe the nominator leaderboard is still a work in progress, but what you can see here under the operators leaderboard, of course, is our operators that since I loaded this screen, they seem to have duplicated. So this shows you the operator number. It appears they're being presented as ranges at the moment. Let's give it a quick refresh and see. Okay, this is a new feature. Yeah, so operator 57 is in rank 1, and they've managed to attain that rank by earning 37.3 TSSC in rewards. It's pretty straightforward. Jeremy's doesn't do that. Okay, you're on a pre-release maybe, but we can see that we can page through our results here, so we can take a look at kind of how those TSSC stack up based on running through the ranks. I believe we can click through here and we can take a look at a particular operator, so we can see information about them. So we can see their signing key. We can see that they require a minimum stake of 3 TSSC to join their operator pool if you want to nominate to them. Their nominated tax is 2%, which is very good, and they have 4,487 TSSC in their stake. The shares number, very big number there. Shares are really, we can drop a link to the Subnomicon. Shares are how we work out what proportion of the stake you have. And then finally the status they're registered. I'm going to hazard a guess that these down the bottom are nominators. Perhaps Jeremy can confirm in the chat. And yeah, so leaderboard for operators. We do also have farmers leaderboard. I know we haven't. Have we officially announced this, Jeremy? I'm not sure. Maybe you can drop that in the chat. But yeah, operators leaderboard released today give you an insight into the performance of your operator. Nominators leaderboard coming soon. And yeah, that's all I really wanted to talk about on the leaderboard. Thanks, Emil.
Yes, thanks a lot, Jim. Yeah, really excited to see the rewards more clearly. It's definitely a super helpful tool for all of the operators. Because in the last few weeks, we've seen tons of questions on how do I actually see my rewards. There you go, guys. Yeah, super exciting tool. That's basically all the news that we had on our agenda. So now it's time for a Q&A. If you have any questions at all to Nazar, to Jim about space acres, contribution contests, or any general developer questions, now it's your time to shine. Please feel free to put them in a chat, or we can invite you on stage if you want to vocalize your question. Let me just scroll through the chat, and there is one question which popped up when Nazar was doing the demo. How does the space acres affect Pulsar development? Nazar, would you like to talk about it?
Sure. I would say it doesn't. At least it doesn't in a negative way. The development of Space Acres uncovered for me personally a few things that could be better in terms of the API that the reference implementation code exposes, because everything does use it under the covers. And from that point of view, the development of any additional custom application or even Pulsar is a little bit simplified because of that. So that's the only side effect I would say is on Pulsar. I don't think Pulsar will change in a major way anytime soon. It will continue to work as it was, maybe getting a little bit better. But you can also contribute to Pulsar if you feel like. Any contribution to the ecosystem of Subspace is certainly welcome.
Thanks, Nazar.
I think it's important to make the distinction there that Pulsar is a supported application and Space Acres is an unofficial application. So we really, to make the most of it, we are looking for community contributions, which is why there's the contest and the incentives on the table for delivering change to that. And now's a great time to jump in, of course, because there's lots need doing. There's lots of small jobs need doing. Config for ports is something I was thinking about earlier. A UI to be able to change the my plot size on the fly would be super useful as well. I'm sure that once our Windows farmers start using it, I'm sure we're going to see the issues raised thick and fast. It's also worth pointing out that it's a merged PR is how you become eligible. If I understand the rules correctly, Emil.
Yes, you're spot on. Yeah, in order to be eligible, you have to create the PR, it has to undergo the full review and process, and it has to be merged. Only in that case, you become eligible for the contribution contest. Yeah.
One interesting thing that I'd like to see in Space Acres that I didn't have time to implement is support for multiple farms. In fact, it is supported if you modify the config that is generated by the app after the fact, but it will not be shown in the interface. So this is more like a UI thing. If you want to start with something moderately complex, not super complex, I think that would be an interesting place to start. There are basically two things you need to update. There is one on configuration side. You need to make sure that there is a button to add another farm or delete existing farm if there's more than one, and then save those settings. And then once application is running, you need to display this is the path, this is the capacity, this is what this farm is currently doing. Like, is it plotting? Is it replotting? Is it just farming? Like, is everything okay? Things of that nature. And to clarify on the like unofficial status, we do want people to use it, but there will be an official app at some point in the future. Maybe it will be Subspace Desktop, maybe it will be called something different, but there will be an official app that will probably support staking and other things. This is just a thing that I was able to put quickly together, and that community can contribute, and hopefully community will take over at some point, so I don't have to be as much involved. This is just to bootstrap something that you can try to work with. So I'd like to emphasize again, this is really focused mostly on developers right now. To find people that are interested in maybe starting with Rust, maybe starting with Subspace, and help us bring this thing forward.
Thanks, Nazar. And yeah, absolutely. So Space Acres is an exercise in inclusivity. It's so that people have the bare minimum they need to be able to run on Windows without having to crack open their PowerShell. But we'd love to see it flourish.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I would love to give it a try on the macOS. So if someone ends up porting it to the macOS, or that would be great too.
It actually
But of
already
course,
works on macOS and it works on Linux, and we test both in CI. There is just no packaging.
Yeah.
Like a wrapped thing that includes all of the dependencies, everything you need to actually run it. That's the challenging part. If someone can figure out and contribute the packaging part, then every release will be not only in the MSI form for Windows, it will also be in DNG for Mac.
Yeah, I hope you guys are taking notes because all of these issues there are really interesting topics and interesting features to implement. All right, I see one more question in the chat. Does Subspace support smart contracts and NFTs, or is there a roadmap for it? I can take this one. Yes, Subspace does support smart contracts, and we have an instance of the EVM running on our domain. We do have the Discord and versions of the faucet if you want to have some TSCC on your wallet in order to deploy your test smart contracts and give it a try. And we have a whole section on our documentation with the examples of utilizing Remix, Foundry, Hardhat for your development purposes. So pretty much every tool available for the on the Ethereum ecosystem is also available with the Subspace. Please give it a try. Yeah, we're always open to your feedback and suggestions, but it's fully working. Yeah.
Just to follow up, Emil, so we have the Faucet channel in Discord where you can grab some coins. There's also the Faucet web app. I'm not sure if you can dig out the URL because I've also dropped in the chat here the documentation that Emil was just talking about. So it gets you started. Emil's produced a really great step-by-step guide. You don't really need to know much about Solidity or even blockchain really. If you understand what transaction is, there's that you can just follow the guide through step by step. Even I could follow it. And if you really want, I'm going to drop one. I think this is the right one, but we've actually run. We actually did a demo previously on how to deploy and execute a contract on a previous developer office hours. I've just popped a link in there. We've actually done it a couple of times. So if that's not the right one, if you search our channel for developer office hours, you'll find you should find the right one quite quickly. But there's if learning from a video is your bag, we have demonstrated it before a couple of times.
Certainly. Thanks, Jim.
No problem.
Right. Is there any more questions, or should we start wrapping up our final edition of Developer Office Hours for the year of 2023? Oh, it's the year has passed so fast. Yeah, it feels like it's only been like a week or two since our first edition of the Developers Office Hours, but it turns out it's been more than 4 months that we've been running this, like once a month or like bi-weekly or monthly. So yeah. All right, I don't see any more. Sorry, Jim, go ahead.
I was just going to comment that I agree. Time flies when you're having fun, and yeah, it's been a great year, hasn't it? But yeah, I think we can wrap up. I don't see any questions from the audience. Obviously, you can reach out to us in Discord as always. We're always cruising about. Yeah, and we'd love to hear your feedback on Space Acres, and more than that, we would really love to see your contributions to Space Acres as well. And of course, you can earn yourself some hard cash and some POAPs for doing so.
Absolutely. All right, yeah, thanks everyone for joining us today. But before we wrap up, I'd love to share a few closing thoughts. Firstly, a huge shout out to our amazing speakers today. Jim, your insights into Space Acres and the journey of our desktop farmer application were invaluable, and the walkthrough of the operated leaderboard was certainly helpful for all operators who want to have some clarity about their rewards. And of course, a huge thank you to Nazar. The demo and explanation of Space Acres was a highlight, clearly showing the potential of the application to revolutionize how we interact with subspace. And please remember that the Space Acres project and the contribution contest are both crucial steps towards our goal of making blockchain farming accessible to everyone. Your ideas, feedback, and contributions will shape the future of Space Acres. And we encourage each and every one of you to participate, whether it's by submitting a pull request or simply sharing your thoughts on how we can improve. As we approach the end of the year, let's take a moment to reflect on our journey so far. It's been a year of growth, learning, and community building. We've faced challenges, but together we've turned them into opportunities. This community strength lies in its diversity, creativity, and willingness to push the boundaries of what's possible. Looking forward, the new year holds exciting possibilities for Subspace. With mainnet on the horizon and your continued support and engagement, we can achieve even greater heights. We're not just building applications and tools, we're creating a community that values innovation, inclusivity, and collaboration. So, as we say goodbye to this year and welcome the next, let's keep this momentum going. Let's continue to learn from each other, support one another, and build something truly remarkable. Finally, on behalf of the entire Subspace team, I wish you all a wonderful holiday season. May it be filled with joy, peace, and cherished moments with loved ones. Thank you once again for being a part of this incredible journey. We cannot wait to see what we will achieve together in the coming year. Happy holidays, and until next time, keep farming and keep innovating.
Just echoing Emil's sentiments there. It's been a fantastic year, and seeing this community grow and evolve has been a privilege. Happy holidays, everyone, and let's make the next year even more remarkable. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. See you next time.